Welcome back to Ingrid's Insights, where I review and tease out meaning in TV, movies, YouTube videos. If this is your first time at the channel, please like, share, subscribe, and today, comment. If you're not sure what to comment, just comment 3 pine trees and you'll see why later. So today we're looking at episode 5, Become. I see episode 4, What We, and episode 5, Become, functioning as a unit of meaning. Together, the phrasing is what we become, which is an overarching theme in this episode. It starts out with a figure in the shadows who I think most of us are thinking is Jadis, but it turns out to be Gabriel. Gabriel represents the spiritual and faith components that are weaved throughout this episode. If you watch The Walking Dead, then you know that Jadis and Gabriel had a romantic relationship or connection. But in this episode, Gabriel plays a different role. He helps Jadis figure out what she's becoming or what she's become. Here we see our 2 protagonists enjoying their good times. Playing in the background is a Sinatra-like song with the following lyrics. Oh, the good life, full of fun, seems to be the ideal. The good life, let you hide all the sadness you feel. The good life, to feel free and explore the unknown. I remember I should love you. Literally, Michonne and Rick are heading into the unknown while they experience the good life of their renewed connection and love. The last lyric, just wake up and kiss the good life goodbye, foreshadows what's to come. On their way, they find ramen noodles, which seem to symbolize the fresh start, not unlike college students that embark on becoming brand new adults, eating the cheapest food available, ramen noodles. But they don't care. They're just happy to be alive and to be together. We see things that are still falling into place. They have everything they need in the moment to survive. Once they arrive at the park gift shop, Rick sees the nameplates, and Michonne says she's always hated nameplates. Rick says it's because there are no Michonne plates. This shows Michonne's uniqueness in this world. Rick sees a junior plate showing his growing interest and connection to their son RJ. Michonne lets him know that no one calls RJ Jr. Despite this, RJ is in fact Rick's junior. Michonne mentions that both children are like them, which is better symbolized by Rick's hatchet and Michonne's katana. Rick finds a pendant with the name Michelle, and showing his resourcefulness needed in this world, he creates an M pendant, which he gives to Michonne later. Our protagonists also stumble upon a key in a booklet that shows there is shelter, 3 Pines Cabin. 3 represents the completion of the beginning, middle, and end of something. Or it can also represent the past, present, and future, which are themes that are here and emerge in this episode. On their trek to 3 Pine Cabin, they see a sign. The sign reads, protect the park from the people from the park, and the people from the people. This signals what Rick and Michonne will face in the upcoming scene. Then they come upon a group of 3 that variant walkers that have been boiled in steam are attacking. Rick and Michonne assist the group to be immediately betrayed. The group leader especially has lost, or maybe never had, his humanity. He seems to believe you have to only look out for yourself or your own family.
Don't do this to someone else.
You don't, but if you let my family live, I consider that an destructive experience.
Promise us to leave people be.
You serious? Why would you care about saving anybody's skin other than your own? You look after you. Anything else in this world is a fairy tale.
You think?
This sentiment contrasts Rick and Michonne's sense of how to be human. Rick and Michonne easily overcome this group, but show their benevolence by allowing them to live, leaving them a weapon. When Rick and Michonne arrive at the Three Pines cabin, they bask in the good life, finding Black Label whiskey and chatting about how good it felt to fight. I think Rick says, no, or Michonne says, us against the world and us for the world. I suspect that they also felt good about maintaining their version of humanity by leaving the group of three be, as Rick mentioned earlier, even though that group betrayed them. And here we are in the present. I talked earlier about how the three symbolizes the past, present, and future, but Rick and Michonne are now in the present, and he gifts her the M pendant that he made for her. And he is just doing the best that he can and reconnecting with her, making even probably a deeper connection than they had in Alexandria. And then here, a shadowy figure, and we all know that it's Jadis, the third member of the Three Pine cabin. And then we flash back to 3 years ago, keeping up with the three symbolism. But this, of course, represents the past, and we'll see how it impacts the future. 3 years prior, Gabriel and Jadis meet up in the woods by happenstance or providence. This coupling mirrors what Rick and Michonne went through in episode 4, when Michonne had to ground Rick and remind him of his life in Alexandria. So Gabriel does the same thing for Jadis, or Anne as he calls her, connecting her to Alexandria. He even goes as far as to apologize to her for losing faith in her.
Rick brought you in because he believed the people could change. He called you one of us. He died trying to bring people together.
He died?
The bridge. He had to destroy it to stop an incoming herd. He was caught in the explosion. My mistake wasn't trusting you. It was losing my faith in you. Can you forgive me for that?
What about all the people that can't forgive you? What about the ones that you made gone? How do you live with that?
Prayer. Amends. Talk.
So here we see Jadis's conflicting feelings about who she was becoming in Alexandria and who she is now, or who she will be in the future with the CRM. We also see the play with the past, present, and future. The present CRM Jadis sees that Gabriel thinks Rick is dead, which allows her to speak more safely with Gabriel without worrying about him finding out about Rick or finding out about the CRM. She asked Gabriel, well, what about the ones you made gone? Which harkens back to episode 2's title, Gone, which we see that the CRM unalives many innocent people in order to keep the CRM safe. I also see this as Jadis's participation in keeping Rick gone from Alexandria and his family. Gabriel says that we do this by having faith and using prayer. He encourages Jadis / Anne to keep the faith in herself and in her humanity. I think Gabriel's apology to Jadis humanizes her, which is beginning this transition from Jadis to Anne. Abruptly, we're back to the present day with our triad of Rick, Michonne, and Jadis. Jadis, who has joined them at the Three Pines cabin. Jadis, representing the CRM, has caught up with Rick and Michonne. Jadis admonishes their rudeness when they're ignoring her, having a conversation about where she's been and who's with her. And Jadis tells them that she's kept them alive to tell them the greater purpose of the CRM's quest to save humanity. This angers Michonne, and Michonne tells her that her kidnapping Rick almost destroyed their family. Jadis of the CRM, acting as God by determining that Rick and Michonne must die to save humanity at large, while she seems to have tossed aside her own humanity and integrity to uphold her allegiance to the CRM. Jadis also suggests killing Rick and Michonne will keep Alexandria and their children safe. While Rick tries to reason with her, he calls her Anne. Rick calling her Anne is Rick's attempt to remind Jadis of who she was when she was in Alexandria. Well, our two heroes, Michonne and Rick, fight back, and Michonne tries to end Jadis's life, but Rick intervenes. And then we flash back to 2 years, and we see that Jadis and Gabriel meet again. At their meeting, they both seem stressed and changed by what each has experienced since the last time they met. Gabriel shares how Alexandria needs resources and asks Jadis if she and her community would be willing to help. She tells him no, and that she's not even supposed to be there meeting with him. Jadis and Gabrielle talk a bit about Alexandria, but she says things are so different now, and she's had to do difficult and even cruel things, and she'll need to continue to do difficult and cruel things that are necessary to create this new world order that the CRM has mapped out. Gabriel tells her that if she is struggling this much and has so many doubts, that this is not who she is. She is not this person. Gabriel gives Jadis the ring that he planned to give to Rick so that Rick would be able to marry Michonne. Gabriel says that Jadis should keep the ring as a symbol of faith. And I see this as in faith in who she actually is. I also see this as a reminder of who Jadis was becoming when she was in Alexandria. She was becoming her true self, Anne, the artist. Present day is back upon us. And as the injured Jadis flees Rick and Michonne are arguing about what needs to happen to Jadis. Michonne sees her as a threat and wants to end her. Rick, on the other hand, thinks that maybe they'll be able to sway Jadis like Michonne swayed Rick into believing and having faith in what's right. Rick and Michonne run Jadis off the road, and Jadis escapes before they can find her. Jadis comes across that group of three. That group of three that functions as a foil to Rick and Michonne. That group of three that only cared about their own survival. That group of three that's lost their humanity. Well, Jadis easily tricks them into helping her, using them as a resource, she says, to obtain her objective of ending Rick and Michonne. Once Michonne and Rick track her down at the nature center, and this is an interesting setting, this idea of a nature center, because you think of human nature. What is it? Is it only about survival? Is it at all costs, no matter what you do or who you hurt? And if you look closely, you can see that the nature center has hanging cloths that form many triangular sections, which to me reinforce this idea of the triad, or like of a triangle, which symbolizes completion. And this is where Jadis, Michonne, and Rick are going to have their final battle, which completes this era and this episode. So I'm going off script, and I'm just going to go off the dome here. But you can see in this this still here, the continuation of this theme of nature, and we see the three ram's heads here. And if you know anything about ram's heads or rams, you know that they battle. They have epic battles, and we know that Rick, Michonne, and Jadis are about to have their last battle here in the nature center. So I think that's a pretty cool representation of what's about to happen. We're also going to see the three, that group of three that have lost their humanity, and Jadis was able to trick them into luring Rick and Michonne here to the nature center. And now they have the girl who seemed the most innocent out of all of them pretending to be Jadis. And this just is leading to that group of three fighting against Rick and Michonne, which we know they're not going to win that fight, and they end up getting bit and ended by the walkers. So we flash back to 1 year ago, and this is the last year that they meet.
And I don't pretend to understand your community or your commitment to them, but I do know something about that part of yourself that you're scared of losing.
What if it's already gone? Every year I come back here, I've done worse things. I know why they're done. I believe in what we're trying to do. There's the plan and the why. And then there's the blood.
I know you feel you can't tell.
So you can see that Jadis is struggling with all of these difficult and cruel things that she's done, and she's even done more since the last time that they've met, and she understands why they're doing it and she believes in it, but you can tell she doesn't really want to do those things. And I think this finding this comfort into with Gabriel is what she really wanted. So we flash back to the present day at the nature center, and Rick and Michonne are facing up against Jadis, and Jadis is telling them that if you kill me, that Alexandria is going to be, everyone in Alexandria is going to die. And Rick and Michonne decide, Michonne more specifically, communicating non-verbally with Rick, that they need to make a deal with Jadis, and they agree that they're going to throw down their weapons, and Rick is going to go back to the CRM with Jadis, and Michonne is going to be allowed to go back to Alexandria. So they make this deal, and they throw down their weapons, or seemingly. And then, of course, no one sticks to the deal, and Jadis turns on them. Then we flash back to 1 year ago.
Shoot me. Make me understand. Show me who you are.
So Jadis was going to shoot Gabriel, but of course she ended up not shooting him, which shows who she actually was. That there is some bit of Anne still there. So I've read on some social media that some people didn't really enjoy this humanizing of Jadis, but I did.
I died an artist. It was never about survival in that life. It was just about truth. This is mine. The end of my story. My peace. On the bridge, you told Gabriel you wanted to marry her. You found this, and you wanted to give it to you. How did you? You weren't dreaming, Rick. Go ahead. Do what you said you would do. Please.
So this is the end for Jadis, and you're going to see that triad again. Luckily she was able to make that transformation back to Anne. She didn't really die an artist, but she held on to some of her humanity there. And I think this is a big thing. You can see that triangle shape that it makes there. She's at the top of the triangle, and then Michonne and Rick have the two other sides. And she tells him, you know what you need to do. And she tells them where the dossier is. She tells them how to get there. And then Michonne tells her exactly what they're going to do and how they're going to overthrow the CRM. And there they go in that triangle shape again. And she's at the top. And Rick and Michonne, it's a sad scene because you can tell no one wants to do it, but Jadis has been bitten, so there's no way around it. And then we see the hanging cloths. Rick and Michonne are on the road, and he stops her and he says, hey, there's something I've been wanting to tell you. And I didn't write down their exact vows, but basically he says this is a broken world and you're the only one that can fix it. And that I belong, as long as I'm alive, I belong to you. And people really love this scene because at some point she gets down and he proposes and he's on his knees. Then she gets on her knees, and people have been saying it shows that they are equal. And then here we're to present day somewhere in the woods, and Gabriel is waiting for Anne, and of course Anne doesn't show up because Anne is gone. And then the ending scene, we see that there's the steam coming out of the vents there in the woods, and the CRM is flying, probably to find out where Jadis is. So that is the end of Become. There are really some interesting themes here. I really like the humanizing of Jadis because I think that in our society today, we really don't understand that people are complicated. People are either good or they're bad. They're Democrat or they're Republican. Now it's not so much gay or straight. It's more fluid with that. But anyway, I think it was a well done episode. So if this is your first time here and you've gotten all the way to the end, please like, subscribe, and make a comment. And if you're not sure what to comment, just put fire emojis. Oh, no. You're supposed to put 3 pine trees. That's right. I forgot. And of course, we're putting 3 because 3 is the symbol of the triad, and we've seen it all throughout the episode. Thank you for your time.